Would you look at that? Viewer Al Coon contacted me and wanted to know if he could send me a piece of oak to turn. And once he got it in the mail, he said the challenge is on the way. And boy, oh boy, was he right. This is going to be a challenge. I've been looking at this for 2 days now. Well, not all of 2 days, but parts of 2 days. Looking at it, turning it around, turning it upside down, turning it back the other way, turning it on its side, whichever that is, I don't know. Just trying to figure out how am I going to mount it and what am I going to make out of it. And I'm still not certain. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a portion of this off right here, about 1.5 inches or so, just to bring it closer to the main body. And then on this end I'm going to do the same thing, cut that off and make it closer to the main body. And then I'm going to set it on my drill press just as you see it here, and I'm going to cut about a 3.5 inch circle in here to get down through the bark, so that I've got a flat place for my jaws to set on. And then I'm going to drill a 5/16 inch hole in the middle of that for my 3/8 inch woodworm screw. Then I'm going to get it mounted up, and then we're going to turn a bowl out of it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop, howdy! Today I have this piece of oak from Al Coon. He contacted me, wanted to send it out, and here it is, and we're going to get to it. Don't go anywhere. I decided to try a 2.5 inch instead of a 3.5 inch. I was thinking the bark is very thick, but maybe it's not. Let's give this a go. I had to shim my little clamp here with a piece of 3/4 inch plywood just to help hold it down, because this part of the bowl is lower than that part. Well, I wanted to use tailstock support, and I brought it up here, but it just kind of wants to run off to the side of this area. So I'm going to start without tailstock support and just try and flatten off something here, just so I can find a place to set it. I'm going to use my 5/8 inch bowl gouge, and I'm going to have my mask and face shield on. We're going to be turning at about 400 RPM. That might do it. And something tells me I'm going to be sharpening a lot. Okay, Al, yeah, it's a challenge. That is some hard wood. I'm going to come over here and just work directly at the side. I haven't really done anything to get it into balance, but I'm going to see if I can't speed it up a little. It's about 500. Alright, I'm getting tired of that. Almost there, but you know, I just want to get started on this corner. And I am going to sharpen up. I'll be right back. Not going to be nice? Okay, I'm going to start working on the bottom. I expected to take a good inch off the bottom. And I don't think I ever mentioned the dimensions. This was basically 10-inch diameter and about 8 inches tall. And I'm going to go sharpen up again. I think if I had any sense, I would be using carbide, but no one ever said I had sense. See if we can pick the speed up any. Oh yeah, it's about 900, much better. Let's just see what that looks like. And I got a ways to go before I get down to someplace I can put a tenon. Got to get down to at least here, I guess. Maybe even further. I'm just admiring the wood. I think I'm going to pull the tailstock back and get rid of this nub here. You see it bouncing around? The whole thing? The wood is very hard, and we're working out here a good 7 inches, so I just have to take it slow. Wow. What else could I use? Well, I'll try a swept back gouge for a minute. Al sent me this from Arizona. I'm thinking it's been out in the desert maybe. And maybe it's full of sand. It is very dirty here. Very dirty. And I'm not getting big chips. I'm getting sawdust. Part of that's because I need to sharpen up again, but part of it isn't because of that. Now here we have a really big crack that comes, oh boy, it comes up here a ways, and then there's another crack over here. I might lose that whole corner out of there. Then there's another crack up this way. I want to keep this kind of stuff if I can. That's wonderful. That, but you have to keep in mind, if you keep something like this, you can't hollow it out, or you got a big hole in there. So that means you're going to have a wall thickness of a good 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch. So if you're okay with that, then that's cool. If you're not okay with that, then you got to take the outside down a whole lot more. And I don't really want to do that. But we'll do whatever it is we have to do. Unfortunately, I just got a phone call and I got to be someplace else. So we'll take this up tomorrow. So now it's time to create a rim around the bottom here for it to set on. And the way I'm going to do that is put a recess between the tenon and this rim. I'm just going to use a skew chisel to reduce the size of this tenon down to that line, actually slightly less than that line. It's a little bit too big. So let me get my mask and face shield on. We'll be turning at 1300 RPM. I'm telling you, this is some hard wood. This was very sharp and now it's dull as can be. So then we'll switch to a standard grind bowl gouge and just create that recess here. And I think that's going to do the trick. And this is one piece I'm actually looking forward to sanding, because there's going to be such a huge improvement after sanding with this. So let me get my area cleaned up here a little bit and we'll get to sanding. As I often do with live edge pieces like this that have voids and whoopsies and all that in them, I'm going to start the sanding with my Sandoflex. I'm going to start in reverse with it spinning at 350 RPM. So as the piece comes up over here, my Sandoflex is coming down against it. And then I will sand in forward from this side. And as the piece is coming down, my Sandoflex will be coming up. And that'll get all these sharp edges and the whole piece, the bark and all of it, everything that I can reach from this position. And then I will stop and I'll sand like this to get in these areas that are natural voids. Man, that is going to look good, I can tell you. It's going to look so good. And when that's done, then I'll switch over to my 2-inch sanding disc. And I'll just sand it normally at 350 RPM, starting with 80 grit and working up through 400 grit. See you in a bit. Well, I won't lie to you. The sanding definitely took a while, a couple hours, but it's going to be so worth it. This is such a beautiful piece of wood. I don't know what part of the tree this came from. Wish I did, but I have no clue at all. I really kind of think Al just found this out in the middle of the desert somewhere. I'm not sure. He didn't say. But there's so much to see here and feel. That's about as important as seeing it. And that's why sanding is so important. Because you pick the piece up and you feel it. And if it doesn't feel good, it's not going to look good. And if it does feel good, it's going to look even better. So to me, it's just worth it. I don't love sanding any more than anybody else does. I hate it, but it's a necessary evil. And this is going to look fantastic. We'll get to that here in just a second. So I'm just going to take a little acid brush, and I've got some sanding sealer in a little can here, and we'll just dab it in. Dab and go. So this is going to take me a while, and I probably won't show it to you because you'll get bored, and I don't want you getting bored. But this is what I'm going to be doing. And this is sanding sealer, shellac-based sanding sealer. It's called Zinsser Seal Coat. Comes pre-mixed in a can. I don't mix it. I just put it on a rag or a brush and apply it. And I'll put on probably 2 coats of this. And then I will put on shellac over it. Zinsser shellac also comes in a can, also pre-mixed, ready to go. Look at that. Isn't that something? Ooh, wee baby. So 2 coats of this, a couple of coats of shellac most likely. I'll let you know when I come back. And then it'll be time to turn this around and hollow it out. Don't go anywhere. The sanding's done, the finish is done, more or less. I often tell you the things I do wrong. I'm going to tell you what I did right. I did a heck of a good job of sanding this. That combined with the fact that it's so hard, this wood is so hard, that the sanding sealer did not penetrate. All I had to do was put on 1 coat, and it just filled it right up, which is really unusual for oak because oak is an open grain wood, but that's all it took. I mean, it had a nice shiny finish after the first coat. So I put on 1 coat of shellac, and I intend to put on a 2nd coat of shellac when I do the inside. I love this piece of wood. Look at this. It has so much to offer. Beautiful bark, beautiful grain, beautiful colors, the different colors of the bark, the different parts of the bark, you know, this is the outside and this is the inside of the bark, and then we get to the wood. It's just beautiful. This right here creates a bit of a problem for me, and you can probably see what that problem is. And over here there's a void, a pretty good sized void here. And then we have a smaller void here. Well, in hollowing this out, you can see how thick my wall is before I even start. It's I don't know, almost an inch thick here, right here. That's probably the narrowest part. This doesn't count too much because it's okay if I cut away some of that. There's still plenty left. And this doesn't create much of a problem, clear down there. But the problem is this goes in so far that when I start hollowing this out, unless we have really thick walls, I'm going to come through, and I don't want to come through here. It wouldn't bother me too much to come through right here. You know, a small opening, that wouldn't bother me, but this is huge and it's deep, so just about all I can do is go straight down from where I am. And even if I do that from here straight down, this is lower than this is, so I'm going to have a hole in it. So I'm just really at a crossroads here. I don't know quite what to do. I don't want to ruin it, and yes, I've certainly made pieces that have holes in the side. Sometimes that's just the way it is, but this one's just too pretty for that. I just don't want to do that. So I'm just going to play it by ear. I could drill this out. I considered drilling it out. This is a 2.5 inch hole right here. Put a 2.5 inch Forstner bit in there. But the wood is so hard, I was afraid I would stress the tenon that it's on. So I'm just going to carve it out with a chisel. What kind of chisel, Phil? Well, let me tell you. I'm not even going to bother with high-speed steel. It's just not going to do the trick. I had a hard time on the outside with it, and I don't know how many times I sharpened, 6 or 8 on the outside. So I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to go with my #1 hollowing tool, carbide cutter. I know a lot of folks watch me simply because I don't use carbide. Well, I do occasionally, and this is one of those occasions. I'm just going to go with carbide. Otherwise, we'll be sharpening all day. I did just sharpen this carbide cutter up, so I hope I did a good job. We're going to find out. We're going to be turning at 1200 RPM, mask and face shield on. I'm about 1/8 of an inch right here. Well, I'm out here about as far as I better come, so I'm going to take my round nose scraper and scrape the first couple inches here. Yeah, that's good. Deeper we go. I think we're just about done. I'm going to take a little break. I'm pooped. I moved you a little bit because I need to get in here a little tighter. I didn't want to bump the camera, and I wanted you to be able to see. So I just put a fresh edge on my scraper, and I'm going to scrape the whole side here. Apparently I came back up here a little far with the carbide tool. So I'm going to scrape the whole side and the bottom, and I think we're going to call it good. So let me get my mask and face shield back on here, and we'll do that. I still might bump you. Sorry if I do. Yeah, I just can't get the position I need and have you still be able to see without me bumping you. So I'm just going to finish scraping this up. I'll bring you back in just a minute. Well, that fresh burr on my scraper really did a nice job in here. I don't see any ripples or anything. It's probably because it's such hard wood. So I'm real happy with that. I also took a minute with my scraper just to kind of round over this one edge. From here to here, this is higher than it is everywhere else, and it was a very sharp point, so I just kind of rounded over that edge, and then I'll refine it with sanding. Talking about sanding, now it is time for sanding, and I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes except for one member of the audience. Just one member of the audience can keep his eyes open. Okay? Everybody else close your eyes, because this is not for you. I'm going to mention that there's one sharp point right here. I'm just mentioning this to that one member of the audience. One sharp point right there, maybe right here. Okay, everybody close your eyes. Lathe is spinning at 350. Okay, you can open your eyes now. I'm going to start the sanding at 120 on my 2-inch sanding disc. Yeah, that's going to work good. So starting at, what did I say, 120? I'll get it all sanded up through 400. I'll bring you back when it's time to put some finish in there. You ever have one of those days where you thought it was just gonna suck, but then it turned out to be a really terrific day? Well, that's what today was for me. Laying in bed this morning thinking about this piece, and thinking about how deep it is, and thinking about these big voids on the side, and how was I going to keep it from coming through. And then I got out here this morning and got to looking at it, and it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be. And then I was thinking, boy, it's going to be a bear to sand, and it wasn't. It just was a good day. It just was a good day, you know what I mean? And because I was kind of dreading it, instead of coming right out here first thing this morning, I went and got on my side-by-side. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's an off-road vehicle for two people, side-by-side. It's got a steering wheel and two nice seats and seat belts and all that. And it's street legal. So I got on that and went garage sailing, trying to put this off as long as I could. And I just had a really good time doing that. It's a nice day today. The sun's out. It's not hot. Low 70s. And I didn't buy anything at the yard sales, and that's probably a good thing because I don't need a thing. But I met some people. Whenever I'm driving that, people always want to talk. They always want to talk about it. It gets a lot of attention. It's a bright green. I'm not really a people person exactly. But I talked with them and everybody liked it. And like I say, it was a nice day. It was wonderful. It's a wonderful day. And then, like I said, then this turned out to be nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I'm so grateful for that. And besides that, it turned out really nice. I kind of expected it would be nice, but it's nicer than I thought it would be. So anyway, Phil's a happy camper. Phil's having a good day. And pork chops for dinner. Yippee. Yes, pork chops. I know they're not good for you. That's all right. And I probably say this once in a while, but I sure wish you could feel this piece. Oh my gosh. It's so smooth. Compared to what we started with, my gosh. It's just amazing. So that's the first coat of sanding sealer, maybe the only coat like I did on the outside. I'm not sure yet. I have to wait till it dries and I buff it out. And then I'll put 2 coats of shellac on the inside and another coat on the outside. What do you think? I hope you really like it because I love it. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Thanks, Al, for sending this to us. So anyway, I'll get the sanding sealer on, buffed out, shellac on, buffed out, and I'll bring you back when it's time to turn this around and take that tenon off. See you in a bit. Okay, let's get this finished up. I've installed a block of wood onto my woodworm screw, which is mounted in my chuck. I'm going to, even though this has a non-slip surface on it, It does not reach to the bottom, and I don't want to mar the inside of the bowl with this edge. So I'm going to put another piece of non-slip over that, and then bring up the bowl, and then bring up the tailstock. And I still have my center hole there for reference. Jiggle that around a little bit, make sure it feels secure. Apply a little pressure. Bring up the tool rest, spin it up a little bit. See that it looks like it's centered and it's dead on. So that's a plus. A little more pressure. I'm going to grab a 3/8 inch standard grind bowl gouge and begin to removing that tenon. Check for clearance and we're good. I'm going to grab a 3/8 inch swept back bowl gouge so I can get in there a little tighter. I'm also going to adjust my tool rest a little closer. Now I've been turning at about 550 RPM. I'm going to turn it down to about 400. And I'm taking my time because we've got a lot of work into this piece and we don't want to blow it now, you know what I mean? Okay, now I'm going to turn the speed down to about 200. And I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl. Right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch. And when the little nub stops turning, we'll know we're through, like that. It doesn't get much more perfect than that. And then I'll take it over to the workbench and sand this 2-inch area with my 2-inch sanding disc. Well, here it is, one very natural oak bowl in the books. Isn't that beautiful? It's just gorgeous to me. Look at that. Wonderful, wonderful. There's the bottom all finished up. This wood is so hard that it would barely take the ink from my pen. The ink just sat there all shiny. I had to actually plug in a heater to heat it up to get it to dry. And then I waxed over the top of that for a little protection. The bowl is just near perfect as far as anything I could do to it. There's no tear out, there's no tool marks. It's smooth as can be. It's just beautiful. Just look at that. My gosh. How could it get any better? It's quite heavy. It's a substantial piece. Yep, I love it. I hope you do. Thank you, Al from Arizona, for sending this to us for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about one a week and I'd like to keep in touch. Your comments are always welcome and I respond to all of them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.